Could the migrant crisis be used to justify the implementation of the MOTB? All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachaha, Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to do a response video right here, which was uploaded by Cash Jordan. The title of his video right here is "It Begins. New York City starts arresting migrants." Now, some of these migrants coming over here, because at the end of the day, we have a good idea of who's crossing the border, but we don't really know what these people are really capable of. It could be terrorists crossing the borders into this place. It could be military personnel that work for the UN, that operate within the UN. It could be crisis actors. I mean, it could be just about anything. Okay. And these migrants which are coming over here to the US, they could be used as a tool or a conduit to stir up trouble here in the US. Okay? Not only attacking and terrorizing the police, but citizens, business personnel, your everyday workers. A lot of things can come from migrants just coming into the United States, terrorizing people. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video, continue from there.
Several asylum seekers were recently arrested after an attack took place on the NYPD right here in Times Square. But after being controversially released, they may have fled the city and the country. And critics say this kind of thing is probably going to happen again.
Plenty of questions tonight about the aftermath of a brutal attack.
4 out of the 5 men originally arrested were released without bail.
Why aren't they in jail right now? Our criminal justice system is upside down.
Even more concerning, it's believed some of those suspects have already skipped town.
What do you have to say to the people of New York? You have nothing to say to the citizens of New York?
Police report a jump of 1,885 assaults in 2022 to 2,235 last year.
And they can easily just mess with those numbers. It may not be that many officers being assaulted, but we must also remember that Esau Edom has an agenda, a New World Order agenda. Okay, he has an agenda to basically stir up chaos, so he can spread panic, cause fear, and get a reaction from the people. Because we all know when these people get taken out of their comfort zone, the first thing they do is run to the government for help. Okay? So, and we know the so-called elites, they run the government through the Illuminati. Okay? Ain't no such thing as a righteous person that's running the U.S. government or the Senate or the Congress for that fact of a matter. So what's going to happen? The so-called elites, they're going to give out a decree, take away more of their rights, or maybe we might have to start tagging people, because we don't know who these immigrants are. If you want to feel more safer, then maybe you should allow us to, tag a couple of people. Put C hips in everyone. You see that? Okay? Because we all know that the CHIP is the mark of the beast. So now you're starting to see where I am going with, them justifying implementing the CHIP so they can tag people, have their identification on there, you know, because they're going to continue to flood America with immigrants. And like I said, we don't know who these immigrants are. These migrants which attacked these police officers, they could have been a part of a cartel or something. Probably pulled a machete out of a book bag, behead them right there in public. Because, these migrants that come into the U.S., they're a different breed of people. Okay, they're not like your watered, washed down American people. Now these are a different breed of people. They're not afraid to attack the police. They're not afraid to get in trouble for it. They don't care about getting deported. Getting deported is like a smack on the wrist. A smack on the wrist.
Here we are in Times Square, right where this incident took place. Now, some of the people involved have been arrested, released, others never got caught, and there's a manhunt underway for them right now. Where are you guys from? Arizona. If people beat up the cops in Arizona, do they get released without bail? No. Now, why those folks walked free, that's its own controversial issue, which we'll get to. But first, it's important to understand that although there seems to be mass outrage over all of this from everybody, including citizens and the police, what many people don't realize is that this kind of thing in New York, an attack against police or something crazy that just goes unpunished, that's how things normally work in New York. And look at this. Late last year, police officers were assaulted after asking people to stop smoking cigarettes in the subway where there's cameras everywhere. The officer in that incident ended up in the hospital. And look at this other crazy story nobody heard about. Someone had an illegal weapon in the subway, committed a crime, and they were also released without bail. And what that means is this story, the controversial arrest and release of these suspects, is part of a much larger thing happening here in New York that is very frightening and that nobody really wants to discuss. And that's why we're not only going to break down what happened between police and the asylum seekers, we're also going to go over why the district attorney released them without bail, and we're going to look at actions the NYPD is now taking that some people think are controversial and retaliatory. But first, we've got to go over why the NYPD was attacked right here in one of the busiest, most iconic parts of New York City.
Why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA different? Well, for starters, our premium federal...
And you know what else is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to a lot of police officers turning in their badges. Because they're going to say, fuck this shit, man. They're going to turn in their badges. That's going to lead to less people in the police force. And that's going to lead to less police showing up at domestic situations, violent, whatever,
Saturday night, you can see 5 men and 2 officers interacting on camera. Seems calm and ordinary until the pair of officers attempt to take down one of the men in yellow, pictured here. And then it gets ugly. We saw the video. Reprehensible. Cowards. It starts with...
So, as you can see from the video, the police, they were here and they were just out on a routine patrol. But then they saw something suspicious happening and decided to move in. And then they put their hands on one of the individuals, and that's when everything took a turn for the worse. Now, these officers, they're armed. And even though this was an extremely tragic incident, armed officers could have decided to escalate things further. And the fact that they didn't shows incredible restraint on their part. But to add insult to injury, the controversial actions taken by Manhattan's district attorney probably made the whole situation way worse, as you're about to see.
Tia Bragg, why did you not ask for bail? Why didn't you ask for bail? District Attorney Alvin Bragg trying to get away from questions about his decision to release 5 migrants charged with assaulting 2 NYPD officers in Times Square. You have nothing to...
And they look like they could be of the... It looked like they could be of the Latino tribe, okay? And again, this could be the Lord, raising up the northern kingdom. Okay? Because at the end of the day, man, Israel's getting tired of Esau's shit, man.
Charged with assaulting two NYPD officers in Times Square. You have nothing to say to the citizens of New York?
No bail. You're free to go, but you have to come back. That's essentially what these guys were told. And
Right? And ultimately, that decision really comes from the so-called elites. You see, they released these migrants back into the public because really they want chaos to be stirred up here. And don't be surprised if you hear more stories about, NYPD officers being attacked. Don't be surprised if you start hearing stories about citizens being mugged or mobbed by migrants. Because the so-called elites, they're looking to get things going. Everything is set in motion, right? The central banking digital currency system, the RFID chip is ready to be rolled out. Let's see. Let's go to Isaiah 47. Okay. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Yeah, and the dust represents what? Confusion. Okay. Confusion. Because this leads to these migrants being released without bail leads to confusion. A lot of people's confused as to why they're being released without bail after assaulting an officer, right? Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. You see that? And tender and delicacy is usually terms that is used for comfort. And the comfort of this country is indeed being taken away. Let's go to Jeremiah. Okay? Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 6. And I'll just start there. Okay? Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. And that's talking about the elect right there. How do you deliver your soul? By doing the things which are pleasing to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. That's how you deliver your soul. Okay? Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Yeah, the Lord is going to render unto Babylon payback, right? And this is a part of how the Lord is rendering unto her a recompense is what? By flooding this country with immigrants. Okay? That's how he's rendering a recompense unto this country. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. And here comes the point. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. You see that? Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. So this country is not healed. And there is no reparations for this country. There is no restoration for this country. Okay? For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Okay, so that there is no healing for this country. This country is literally heading down shit creek, okay? Especially with all the immigrants and shit. And we're living in a time where we're about to see this country collapse, okay? The immigrants, and you got there's an outrage over this, okay? You got people, chewing out the high officials, and you know, which is going to lead to what? Second Esdras. Let's get that real quick, okay? Guess I just had to open it up in a new window. Okay, let's go here real quick. The Bible that has the Apocrypha in it. And let's go to Second Esdras, chapter 15. And I'll just start at 14. Okay, and let's just view the whole chapter here. Second Esdras 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. It's talking about the nuclear destruction, which indeed is drawing nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. What is this talking about? Well, first and foremost, this is talking about race wars. But on the other hand, this is also talking about civil war. Okay? Because when the government is unwilling to cooperate with the people, what happens next? People start taking matters into their own hands. There's a reason why the U.S. has the UN Army over here, because they know that people are getting ready to lose their minds out here. People's about to be out there protesting. Riots are going to turn violent. People's going to start setting shit on fire. Pushing over cars. It's really going to start getting messy out here. What's going to happen? Well, the National Guard is going to be deployed. The UN Army is going to be deployed. Okay, and it's going to be a civil war. Okay, it's literally going to be the civilians versus the military personnel of the UN Army. Because the military personnel of the UN Army, they really don't give a fuck about anybody over here on the soils of America. Okay, they just want to get their hands bloody. Especially from those that come from war-torn countries. You think they forgot about how their mother or their siblings, their father, their cousins or nephews that died in bombings that came from America, that died from gunshots, that died by American troops, that died by robots carrying explosives? You think they forgot about that? Okay, whole families that went missing. Okay, mothers raped in front of them, sisters raped in front of them, wife raped in front of them by American troops. You think they forgot about that? Nah, so guess what? Like it says in Revelation, the 18th chapter, let's get that real quick. Because what America has done to these other countries is going to do to America. Let's get Revelation 18 and 10. Okay, Revelation chapter 18, or is it 18 and 6? Salakia. I meant 18 and 6. Revelation 18 and 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you. And reward who? Oh, the her is referring to Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double to the works in the cup which she had filled to her double. You see that? So what America has done, she's going to receive double of that. Okay? Let's go to the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7. Okay. So Galatians 6 and verse 7, be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Okay. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. There you go. So Esau, he does nothing but sow wickedness to his flesh. So what do you think he's going to get? He's going to get wickedness in return. Okay? And the Lord is literally dividing this country up. Okay, it says, for there shall be sedition among men. Let's read that again. For there shall be sedition among men. What is a sedition? Okay, a sedition is a protest or an uprising against a higher authority or government. All right, let's go to google.com and let's type in sedition. I already know what it means, but for edification purposes, we're going to look it up. Okay. Okay, so this is sedition right here, right? Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. There you go. That's what a sedition is. And that's exactly what a protest is. That's exactly what a riot is. Okay. So the Holy Scriptures prophesies of riots and protests. Okay. What is sedition in the Bible? No need to look that up. So let's see, right? It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. So you're going to have people invading these streets in large numbers. Okay. You're going to have martial law troops going from house to house invading other people. Okay. You're going to have immigrants invading America. Okay. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. People don't care about Joe Biden. Neither do they care what he has to say. And your princess represents the other authorities that operate within the U.S. government, such as the Congress, the Senate, the House of Representatives, okay, which the Senate is also known as the old dad, okay? But, you know, you got your Senate, your Congress, and then you have your judicial system, okay? Such as your courts. Ain't nobody gonna care what the kings or princes have to say, right? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to get hectic out here, man. People going to be using sound cannons. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because in the hour of martial law, your exits or your entrances into different cities, different states, your highways, your freeways, your bridges, they're all blocked off by martial law troops who set up barricades, spike strips, tanks, MRAPs, troops, armed troops. This is what's going to be blocking off your exits to other cities or your entrances into other cities or states. Okay? Now let's read verse 18. For because of their pride, okay, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And men shall be afraid. Yeah, because those days are evil. Okay? Those are evil times. And check this out. A man shall desire to go into a. Oh, wait a minute. Let's click on verse 19 here. It says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor." Yeah, and all these immigrants coming into the United States, right? We see how they're willing to attack a police officer, right? How much more the civilians? You got a lot of immigrants moving into these different houses. And a matter of fact, there's an immigrant, there's a migrant that lives across from me, well, that lives in the front house from me. Okay, so if immigrants don't care about attacking a New York City police officer, they damn sure ain't gonna care about beating up civilians, especially when 911 is out of service. And I believe it was in one of those Purge movies where they actually showed immigrants in the United States. So it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." And that's actually going to happen. It's going to be niggas. It's going to be Edomites. It's going to be heathens and immigrants breaking in other people's houses with the gun just to look for food. Why? Because of the lack of bread, because of the lack of food. Okay, so it's important for you to know that. Okay, so it's going to get messy here in America. And like I said, don't be surprised if you hear more stories about immigrants attacking people, because we're living in Esau's downfall. And there's one more scripture I want to get. Okay, Matthew chapter 12, verse, I think it's 26. Let me see. So this is Matthew 12, verse 25. Okay, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, "Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation." And this country is being divided by who? By Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. "And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand." And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? You see that? And Satan means adversary. Okay, who's our main adversary on this planet? Well, that is the Edomites, which is the self-proclaimed white man, starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. Okay, and if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. And so Yahweh shall cut the shit out them wicked ass scribes and Pharisees. But with that, I pray and hope that you were edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. It's on to the next one.
Critics say that the failure to protect officers and the public by keeping these people off the streets is sending the wrong signal. Basically, it's letting the crime world know that there aren't a whole lot of consequences here for doing something like this. Now, normally, it's the district attorney's job to protect the general public by keeping dangerous criminals off the streets. And it's not like bail denies someone their freedom. You post bail and you get the bail back as long as you come back. And look, I don't know as much about the law as the district attorney does, whether you agree with him or not, but critics say he's controversially claiming that there wasn't enough evidence to hold these guys in lieu of bail in the first place. This is one of the folks who was released, and regardless of whether or not he's innocent, this isn't a respectful way to act around law enforcement. And